Congressman Jim Jordan is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Sean. Good to be with you.
And by the way,
Sean, for a couple years. Think about what we went through for a couple years, and finally Horowitz's report comes out and vindicates everything you've been saying for 2+ years about what the FBI did. That's really what this is all about. Is we were right, Adam Schiff was wrong with his memo that he put out and said everything was fine. That's what this is really about.
Well, I agree with that. I want to get into all of this in a second here. But, and it's so funny. I was watching everyone and I played a montage in the last hour. Bombshell, 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 talking about John Bolton.
Yeah.
I mean, if I thought about robbing a jewelry store or a convenience store, whatever, I tell my friends, I think I'm going to rob this convenience store. I don't like the owner of that convenience store, which is stupid. But let's say I did that. But I don't do that. If the president vented and said, these people need to be investigating these things. OK, let's say that the president said that. Let's say John Bolton is telling the truth that he said that, although everyone else seems to contradict it. And we don't even know if any of it's true or in the manuscript because nobody's seen it. And even the New York Times is citing anonymous, again, hearsay sources, which is more insanity. That doesn't change the 4 facts that'll never change, not the least of which, even if the president said it, the Ukrainians didn't know at the time that any money was held back. They got a lot of it early, and they took no action, never started an investigation. They never promised to start an investigation. They never announced an investigation. They got all their money. What does it matter if the president said it? Which is in dispute.
No, you're exactly right, Sean. What someone told the New York Times about what John Bolton's manuscript supposedly says doesn't change the underlying facts, doesn't change what happened. And you're exactly right. If the president said, and I don't know that he did, because, look, this is, like you said, again, just more hearsay. It doesn't change the facts. They're all on the president's side. And I thought the White House team, I thought they did a great job laying out.
I thought they did a phenomenal job.
The constitutional case, the legal case, and the evidence, the factual case, all are on the president's side. And that's why I think you're seeing Republicans stick together. And hopefully we're going to get this thing over with this week.
Okay, I'd like to see that, but then I watch guys like Mitt Romney. I'm going to tell you something about how I feel about Mitt Romney. I've always liked Mitt Romney. I've liked his family. I got to know his wife. A wonderful guy. And you know what? I went all in. I knew he'd be a better president than Obama. I think I was proven right. It was the right person to vote for it. He was the candidate that won. Fine. But it seems like I don't understand this. When people lose elections, they get something like a switch in their brain goes off. Because ever since then, everything that he said he would do as president, from judges and taxes and regulation and go right on down the line, is what Donald Trump is doing. I get it. Maybe he doesn't like Donald Trump's New York style. I grew up in New York. I'm kind of used to that style. It doesn't bother me so much. It's not my first rodeo, dealing with combative people or fighters. I like fighters. You used to be a wrestler. And then, I think now we need Bolton. Why would any senator, Republican senator, if their constitutional role is to try the case, ever take on the sole role of the House, which is to do the impeachment, which they did, and they're presenting their case?
Yeah. Now, I think about what the Democrats are saying. The witness count in the House was 17-0. Adam Schiff called all the witnesses. He issued the subpoena. We didn't get a subpoena to anyone. We didn't get to call any of our witnesses. It was 17-0. And now you have people saying, the Democrats saying, we want to make it 18-0. We wanted to make it 17-0 in the House. And now we're not going to call any of those 17 witnesses. We want to call an additional witness and make it 18-0. That is completely ridiculous. The American people understand that. They have seen the case put on by the president's team. They understand the factual case. They understand the legal case. They understand the constitutional case. And all those arguments are strongly on the president's side. So let's get this over with. And then let's get about doing the things that we told the American people we were going to do, continuing to deliver on all those things President Trump said he would do that he's already got done. Let's keep doing more. As he said, let's keep winning.
I agree. And what makes you think, now, if we're going to open this stupid door of witnesses, okay, then I really want to hear from, you're not getting the $1 billion unless you fire the prosecutor investigating my zero experience son being paid millions, $83,000 a month to be exact, less than the 54, and the average American makes less than $54,000 a year. I think that would mean that the president had a right to be like, what the hell is going on here? And then because we had the tape of Joe bragging about it, we just had the 2-year anniversary last week, January 20th.
Yep.
I would like to hear from them. I'd like to hear from the congenital liar. I'd like to hear from the hearsay whistleblower, apparently 2 weeks into the Trump administration was talking about getting rid of him.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from a lot of folks, and you're right. If we're going to go down this road, I've said it all along, I don't think we should, but if they go down this road, if you're going to bring witnesses in, you got to go all the way down. You've got to bring in the Bidens. You got to bring in the whistleblower. I want to hear from the whistleblower. I've always wanted to hear from the whistleblower.
How about
Adam
Schiff?
Schiff initially told us he wanted to hear from the whistleblower, and then suddenly changed his mind when it was discovered his staff had met with the whistleblower prior to him going to the inspector general. So I want to hear from it. Look, I hope they don't go to witnesses. I hope they just vote to acquit, which everyone knows is the right move. But if they go down this road, I want to hear from the whistleblowers and like you say, the Bidens and potentially Adam Schiff, who was part of the record as well.
Okay, let's go back to these hearings with Horowitz, because everything that guys like you and Devin and Mark Meadows and Matt Gaetz and John Ratcliffe, I'm not going to remember everybody, all my ensemble team of everybody that people know who. I'll forget somebody, so I don't want to offend anybody. But everything we reported was right. Everything the mob and the media reported was wrong. Everything Schiff told us for 3 years was a lie. And it's the same people, interestingly, doing the Ukrainian thing. No. What did Horowitz say, and where is this going? What did you learn today?
Well, the key is go back 2 years ago. Go back to January of 2018 when Devin puts out his memo. And remember what the left said. Remember what the Democrats, that's terrible, it's wrong, it's not accurate. Turned out everything Chairman Nunes cited in that memo was exactly right. The only thing we got wrong is it was worse than we thought. But remember, a few weeks after that, Chairman Schiff put out his memo, and he said this at the start of his memo: the FBI and DOJ officials did not abuse the FISA process, and they did not omit material information. That was such a false statement because Horowitz told us last month they lied 17 times in the Carter Page FISA application.
17 specific. But 52 subsections of the lie.
Right. 50-some more, 17 that they said these were so egregious we're going to single out these 17, but 50-some more in total. So that's how bad it was. They even had one of the FBI lawyers change an email that was the basis for what they then put into their application to go to the court, and he changed it from saying was a source to was not a source. So 180 degrees change, not a little subtle change, 180 degrees opposite that they took to the court. That's how they didn't tell the court that Christopher Steele, I've seen the document where Christopher Steele told Bruce Orr, he was desperate to stop Trump. They didn't tell the court that, even though they had that information. They didn't tell the court that Clinton campaign paid for all this dossier stuff. So that's how bad it was. And the Nunes memo 2 years ago this month was 100% right. And Adam Schiff put out a memo contradicting it, saying it wasn't right. And his memo was the one that was actually telling the falsehoods.
All right. So did we get anything else? Now, what about Horowitz was contradicted by John Durham and by the Attorney General, in as much as they didn't agree with some of his findings. And by the way, let's give a little room to breathe for Inspector General Horowitz, because he's limited in his scope of investigation. He's only allowed, if I'm not mistaken, to investigate the realm within the Department of Justice and FBI. So he didn't have the ability, like the Attorney General and the Prosecutor Durham, to go abroad, especially on the issues of the potential of outsourcing spying to allied nations for the purpose of circumventing American law. Do you believe that happened?
Yeah. Well, look, let me go where you were at, just Sean, there too. Is Inspector General Horowitz has done good work, and you're right. He can't subpoena people. He can't look at people who've left the FBI. There's things he's limited by, but overall, his work product has been very good. One of the things we did ask him in today's hearing is what other reports are coming, and I was right at the end of my time, so he didn't get to fully elaborate on that, but there's more information coming from just the Inspector General. And, of course, as you point out, there's the investigation that Mr. Durham and Mr. Barr are doing that we think is really going to get to the bottom of all what took place in 2016 and 2017 when the FBI and DOJ spied on the Trump campaign.
Okay, so we know spying occurred. Even the Attorney General has now confirmed that. They've spent an awful lot of time abroad. Now, do you believe the evidence eventually might show that high-ranking people in the intelligence community, again, there are certain, we know there were two separate areas where spying occurred. One was through the FISA application of Carter Page to spy on a candidate transition team president. Then we had the issue of of foreign nations and whether they also spied on a president. Do you believe that happened? Because I do.
I do. I think and those are the two we always talked about, Carter Page and Papadopoulos. And Papadopoulos was these foreign sources that looked like they were spying on him and getting information that away versus going and getting the warrant and doing the surveillance and things that happen when you get a FISA warrant. So I do think that took place. But we also know it was not just the two that they were looking at. They were looking at Manafort and Flynn as well. So 4 individuals that were being spied on. And that word right there is what set the Democrats off. Because when Bill Barr first testified in front of the Senate Finance Committee and said there was a fair of leadership at the upper echelon of the FBI, then said spying took place. When he uttered the word spying, they went crazy. He said there's a basis for my concern about the spying, which is the stuff that we've been talking about. And then the fourth thing he said was use the term political surveillance, and it sure looks like that's exactly what took place based on Horowitz's report. And then holding people accountable is what John Durham, because that's ultimately how you're going to stop this. If you don't hold people accountable for what all took place, it'll never end. And as we said before, it won't just be about a president. It could be about any of us.
Well, I think that's all true. Congressman Jim Jordan, you've been amazing. What do you think the odds are this does end, say, Friday, Saturday this week after the questioning?
I think it's good. I think it ends later this week, and the acquittal for the president, which everyone knows is the right move.
You really? What would you give the odds at?
I think they're strong odds, frankly. I really do. I don't see. I mean, look, you never saw any senators breaking, Republican senators breaking ranks after the Democrats, and we hadn't even put on our case yet. So then our side puts on the case, and they come up with this crazy Bolton thing, this manuscript, and it's still not moving. So I think senators understand that this whole thing has been ridiculous. Let's get it over with, and let's get about doing the people's business.
All right. Congressman Jim Jordan, great state of Ohio, will be paying attention to your state in 280 days when the people, the ultimate jury, speaks, and we get to shock the world.